Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe back, and I'm going to do my weekly reading update for December 10th, 2023. So, it has been a week, a little bit over a week. As I said, I finished my last vlog on the 30th and posted that on the 1st, and it's just been interesting since then. I had a leak in my bathroom. We're not sure we figured out where the problem is. I'll find out tomorrow when I take a shower, because we recocked some stuff that it might be where it was leaking. We're not sure, but it was leaking into my garage from upstairs, so that was not great. But we're trying to take care of that. Work's been pretty normal. What was the other thing I was going to talk about? There was something else. Oh, I have fallen down the rabbit hole of reading journals again, and bullet journals and notebooks and paper and washi tape and pens and stuff. And I had, again, I started BookTube back in 2017, and right before that, 2016 going into 2017, I was into the notebooks and everything right then. And then I kind of backed off and I used what I had. And then this last couple months, I've been thinking about getting back into some more planning stuff, just to try to get myself to do some things. And I bought a Hobonichi, and so for the coming year, well, I was thinking I want to do some journaling, or change out how I do some of my stuff. And I think it's because I'm not buying books right now, because I am doing the Read What You Own challenge. There's a cat, sorry. That's Cooper. That I moved that money that I would buy books with into buying planner and, bullet journal and scrapbooking kind of materials. I have bought way too much, so I have now cut myself off from that as well. I have plenty. I mean, I have notebooks. I have notebooks all over the place. I have stuff I didn't even remember I owned. And then I bought a whole lot of stuff that I saw on other people's channels doing their reading journals, and I bought those too. So I have a book journal already, which is what I'm going to continue to use, because I still have plenty of space in there. I'm just going to be a little bit more spreads this year. So anyway, I might do a flip through to that once I get it set up. I'm not going to do one that show you me doing it, because I am not artistic in any way whatsoever, which is ridiculous why I bought so much stuff to do that kind of stuff. But I bought some stickers and I bought some stamps, and we'll see what happens. I don't know. I probably just wasted my money. But it brought me happiness, which is probably because I'm not buying books, so I switched it. So we're going to try again to go no buy kitty. In the next couple of weeks, we're going to try. So I had an epic fail money-wise. Anyway, so and if I have to call a plumber, if our situation with the, which could be another reason why I bought a lot of stuff, is because that was my stress reliever, is I spent money, which is a lot of times when I buy books, it does sometimes have to do with that. So I think I just pushed it to something else. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, so I'm hoping the tub is not leaking come tomorrow morning when I take a shower for the first time in a couple of days up there. I've taken it downstairs, and that's weird in itself to be walking around my house with a towel on. Anyway, I think that's it. I don't know. There's probably more. I'm not sure what's going to happen. Why are you rubbing up against those today? I don't know what he's doing. Anyway, so we're going to talk about all the books I've read in the last 9 days. I'm not going to count again today. I haven't read anything today. So, but we're going to start with, we'll start with my DNFs. Let's just get those out of the way. So again, we're going to talk about the books that I started, the ones I finished, and the ones I think I'm going to read in the next week, which no idea in some ways. Maybe we'll see how it goes. My mood is really weird. Yesterday, I pretty much just kind of didn't read anything. And it was kind of weird, because I took Friday off because of, I took it off just to have a day off. And then also I had to deal with the whole, leak and, figuring out what that is. Anyway, point is, I have really talked a lot. Sorry guys. Long intro. Anyway, so let's get into the books. So let's talk about the 2 books I DNF'd. I did try Mr. Magic by Kirsten White, on the 30th of November and the 1st of December. And I just did not enjoy this. This was, I think it's going to become a horror kind of thing, but it has to do with some these adults who used to be on this kids show, but nobody really remembers the show. They like remember parts of it and some of the songs or the rhymes. They don't actually remember, like there's no evidence online or anything of the actual show. Like there's no film or anything because it was back in the, I think it was the 90s. I don't know. But anyway, so we're following one of the characters. I don't remember her name anymore. And her father has just passed away. And she's dealing with that. And she's lived this really reclusive life because of something that happened on this show. And some of the members on that show who had been actors with her, she finds out she was on the show, show up, you know, and she doesn't remember anything. But they have this kind of, there's something murky going on. There's going to be this podcast. They're all going on there for kind of this reunion. And she gets kind of sucked into going along for her own reasons because of things that she learns from them. I DNF this not too far in. I would say probably about 50 pages in, because there was starting to be this, again, it has to do with just the way that the people who they seemed a certain way, but there was this like there's something else is going on. And again, I get that people like mystery thrillers and like, I mean, again, I like mysteries, but not like thrillers so much, where these people are just, there's something else going on than what the main character knows about. And I just didn't care for it. And I was listening to it on audio. It was fine. It was not a problem that way. But because I gave it a shot, I didn't like it. So we continued on from there. So let's see here. So the other book I DNF'd was Road of Bones by Christopher Golden. I bought this from Barnes & Noble on a buy one get one half off sale, and it was one I thought I would be interested in, but I do not like the writing style. I did not get very far. I right away did not like the main character and what was going on. It's about I think they're I can't think, documentary or that kind of thing. They're going to this road in Siberia. It's called the Road of Bones, where a lot of people died. And it just starts out, I think it's because it has them there, and then immediately we go into this flashback that I didn't like. Like, I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? And it's talking about his life and blah, probably going up to when they got on this trip. And I was like, I just want to be on the trip and I wanted to see what happens. And I just got bored right off. So I didn't get very far, and nor did I care. So this book is leaving. So that is I am checking that one off as one of my books off my TBR for Read What You Own, because again, I tried it and I'm not going to read it. So I'm getting rid of it. So it's on that list. Okay, so let's talk about the books that I did finish. So I did finish The Love Hypothesis by Allie Hazelwood on the 30th. I didn't finish it before I put up my video, but I finished it that night. And I really, really enjoyed this. So this is a book that I started in February. And it kind of kick-started my thought that, because again, everybody was talking about this over the last couple of years. And I was like, oh, I really should try that. And I bought it and on a whim one last year. And I didn't get to it. And I thought I put it on my books to self-destruct this year because I want to make sure I got to it, because I bought this contemporary romance and I wasn't sure I was even going to like it. And I read, it was like 200 and something, like I was 100 pages from the end, and I stopped because of just things going on in my life at the time in February. And also because I wasn't used to contemporary romances anymore, and it's just the drama. And she didn't do something I wanted her to do, but I also felt bad for her, and I still love the characters and stuff. And I just wasn't sure how it was gonna go, and I was kind of worried. I guess I was really worried about the characters and what was gonna happen, and so I stopped. And so I tried to pick it up another time this year, and then as I said, I've put out a list of all the books I'm currently reading, and this is still in my currently reading for the year, or was, when I picked it up. So I go, you know what, I'm just going to restart it. So I started from the beginning and and read it, and I read it in a couple of days. It wasn't like this time I blew through it and got past the part that I stopped at before, and then finished it. And then I really, really enjoyed this. So I cannot give this a 5 because I did have a kind of a false start with it. And again, there's still some things about this I don't perfectly love. But overall, this was a great read for me. I was very surprised how much I loved the characters in here and the funny situations. And I really do like Allie Hazelwood's the characters' interactions and stuff. I just think they're a lot of fun. This was a great book. I haven't done this in really a long time, but I actually picked this up a couple days afterwards and reread some of the parts that were my favorite. And I haven't done that in years. Like, I'll reread all the time, don't get me wrong. But when I was younger, I used to pick up books all the time after I'd read them. And then a couple days later, I'd go back and pick it up again and read all my favorite parts because I was still thinking about it. So again, it's not quite to the 5-star level, but definitely a good read for me. I really enjoyed it after this second time around. I think it also helps that I've read several contemporary romances earlier this year before I came back to this. So again, I'm back into that. I know what kind of happens in contemporary romances, which is, again, some of the reasons why I didn't read it for over a decade or two. But I really enjoyed this one. I'm not going to talk too much about this because I talked about it in my vlog and stuff. But I just want to say I did finish it and I really did enjoy this. And anyway, I'm glad I did read that and got that on. So then I finished... let's see here. Where is it? Oh, I have it in here somewhere, don't I? Oh no. Oh, here it is. So then I went back and I finished Mythos by Stephen Fry, which is the first one in his kind of Greek myths retold series. I don't remember the name. Is that the name of the series? I don't know. I didn't look it up. But I'd gotten halfway through, and actually got to the part about Psyche and Eros, and I stopped and I went back and reread the Katie Robert book, Electric Idol, just because I think that's what it was. Yeah. So I got distracted. Anyway, so this is an audiobook that's told by, that was read by Stephen Fry. So it has his voice and his humor and stuff in it. And it was really interesting take on the myths. It's kind of how I feel about Neil Gaiman's Norse mythology. They're kind of like in the same thing where they're retelling the stories in their kind of personality and their writing style. So they're not fully accurate because, nobody can because there's different versions of everything, but they chose a certain way that they go and then they tell a story. So this one is, again, I think there's a couple more books. I have the other audiobooks for Heroes and Troy. I don't remember if there's more than that, but those are the ones I have. So I will continue on with this series just because it was interesting. They're not my favorite retellings of Greek myths, but I think he does an interesting job, and it's very funny in the way, even though there's a lot of tragedy because of Greek myths, he does it humorously, and I did enjoy that. I still think he did a really great job overall of doing that. So I think that was really good. I just realized I didn't pull up one of my books on here. And again, I'm just kind of, it's probably not going to come up. No, it's probably not going to come up. Anyway, oh, there it is. Anyway, so I did enjoy that. Again, it wasn't perfect or anything. It was just fine. Then I also finished, when did I finish? What day did I finish Glint? I feel like did I finish this at the end of the month? Did I talk about this? I don't know, but okay, I did reread Glint. I don't remember. It's not on my list here, and I don't know when I've read this. I think I read this. This might have been at the end of November. I can't remember. Anyway, but this is the book 2 in the Playa Prisoner series, and I'll talk more about it in a minute. But I don't remember if I read this on my vlog or not. But anyway. I finished this at some point. I don't remember now. I don't know why it's in this stack. I don't know if it's just because I didn't put it away or what. It's not on my list. I don't know what I did. I think I read that at the end of November. The next book I actually finished was To Kidnap a Princess by Katie Robert, which is part of her Dangerous Tides Kickstarter that she did with 5 other authors. I have the whole box set. I got paperbacks this year. But she, in her Patreon, she sent out copies like this. I think they're probably on her website or something. Anyway, so this is, it's a pirate story, and we're following a princess, Juliet, who leaves her kingdom because of things that going on there, but she's off to see, I think her name is, Mora, and she is, they had a thing together 10 years before when they were teenagers, and she's out to find Mora, who has become this pirate and is outlaw and stuff. And of course she's the princess, and so she decides she's going to go and do something and get Mara to go find her. And then she gets herself kidnapped. And then she calls for help, and Mara shows up, and then they get kind of sucked into a whole nother adventure. This went in really weird places. I don't know. I feel like it should have been longer and more developed in certain things, but I still think for a novella, it was fine. It was just a fun ride. Not my favorite at all of Katie Roberts stuff, but again, I don't read a lot of pirate fiction of any sort, so it was kind of different to read that. Again, it was a princess and a pirate. It was a cute sapphic story that way. But again, it was a second chance romance, which are never going to be a favorite of mine ever. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, again, I only have one that's really like my favorite. Everything else is like, it's okay. I do want to read the other ones in this collection from the other authors. So I'll finish up that Kickstarter that I, backed. But I did read this one too. I was hoping to get into this before the end of the year, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think next year I'll at one point start reading those novellas to get through those. This is slightly connected to the new book that she just put out, Hunt on Dark Waters. One of the characters from that book is in here. So I do want to read that. I mean, I was going to try to read that by the end of the year, but the way my reading is going, who knows? But it does connect to this. So I might like this more after I've read that one, and kind of maybe there'll be more world building in that one. I mean, there is some in world building here don't get me wrong, it's just not enough, I don't think. So anyway, we'll see what happens on that one. So, and again, I liked it. I just didn't love it. But again, I love Katie Robert overall, so I'm going to read her stuff. And I'm behind. I have quite a few things I have to read of hers. I just haven't let myself make the time to do that. So what I did finish in December is my reread of Gleam by Raven Kennedy, which is book 3 in the Playa Prisoner series. So again, I'm rereading these massive books to be ready for the new book that just came out. So this is my favorite of the series so far of the ones I've read. I've read the first 4, in the past. So I read these a year ago. It is really funny because I think I finished this one right when I was finishing the 4th book last year. Like, it's a year later. It was kind of interesting, but close enough. But anyway, so we're following Oren, who is in the first book. Guild is the favored of King Midas. Again, the one with the gold touch kind of thing. And so she is kept in a cage at the castle, and the king starts doing the whole political machinations and stuff, and things start going wrong. And her adventures kind of start from there. There's a lot. I mean, again, this is one of my favorite fantasy romance series that are romanticities that I've read that I've really enjoyed. So I'm rereading them because the 5th book came out. It is not the final book like it was supposed to be, which doesn't surprise me really with how the story has been going. But this is the one, this is my favorite of them because so much stuff happens in here. The first 2 books, this one and Guild and Glint, Guild is more of a setup book, kind of getting the adventure started, and then Glint is a lot of introducing a lot of the characters that are important and things that are happening, and things are, the Oren's going through a lot, and then this one is just where everything kind of explodes, and so many things happen in this book. And then again, I really enjoyed my reread of that. It's been a while. Again, it's been a year since I read it, but I was glad to reread it. So, and then I And then I also listened to Rotten to the Core by T.E. Kinsey. This is book, is it 8? I think it's 8 in the Lady Hardcastle mystery series. So again, this year I've been trying to get through these. I'm not going to probably finish this series this year. I think I'm still going to have the last 2 that are out so far. Yes, thank you. Anyway, I have the last 2 to read. I just don't think I'm going to be able to force them in by the end of the year. I'm not going to, let's put it that way. I've read 9 if you count the novella. I've read those this year, so I think I'll be fine. But this one had Lady Hardcastle and Flo. We were introduced to this like little secret society, and some of them start getting killed, and so it just kind of, their books, the mysteries are hilarious because someone dies and then it's always somebody else dies, and it's like it just gets more and more people. I did like this one because I didn't really guess who it was. I don't know if I had enough information to guess. Maybe, I'm not sure. I really like the audiobooks that are done by Elizabeth Nold. So I think that's how her name is said. I really enjoy these overall. So again, I still have 2 more that are in reserve for next year that I'll probably get to at some point. But again, I liked the new mystery, and again, Flo and Lady Hardcastle's banter is the best. Like the banter is the reason I like that series so much. And then the last book that I finished, is that right? No. Okay, second to last. But this was my buddy read with Tia and all the books, and that is Steel's Edge by Ilona Andrews. This is book 4 in the Edge series. So this finishes off that series. So we have completed another series together of Ilona Andrews. I really enjoyed a lot of parts of this. I loved the characters in this. So we're following another of the people. Okay, so the Edge is... So this is an urban fantasy where the Edge is a place where has people who have magic and don't have magic, but there's the broken that has no magic whatsoever, and then there's the weird that has all a lot of the magic. And so there's those who live in the Edge or grow up there, and they're able to sometimes pass between the barriers. If you have less magic, you can go into the broken, and if you have more magic, you're able to go into the weird if you want to. And we're following one of the cousins of the main character in the second book and the brother of the one in the third book. And so there's this family tied. And so you get characters throughout all the other books into this slightly, not all of them, but we get a few of them. Some of the ones that we really enjoy following. And but the main characters we get to know better. We get to know Richard. And then we also get to know a healer called Charlotte. And this book didn't go the way I thought it was going to. It was really interesting how it kept going. Again, it's not the biggest of the books, I don't think, or maybe it's close to the biggest of the ones, but it felt like this one just kept going and going. And it was just like, where are we going now? And, it had some of the elements from the other books where there's the adventure, a lot of action. There's the romance between the main characters. And then this one really hit me hard emotionally, some of the things that happened in the beginning. And then, this book it went in ways I didn't expect it to, I guess. And I thought it was kind of weird how it went. But it really worked out, I guess, is what it is. One of those series that it's open. It has an opening to go, for another 2 or 3, 3 or 4 books, like another section with the next generation. I'm kind of hoping that they do that, but it's not on their list of things that they're going to do anytime soon. But Ilona Andrews is, again, one of my, it's been a great reading, buddy read with, Tia to get through all their books. We just have one more series that right now that we haven't touched, which is the Kingsman universe. So we've talked about it, and we're probably going to do that starting in January too. And then we'll be through everything. Then they need to start writing more because we'll be caught up. Anyway, this was really good ending, and I did really enjoy the Edge series. I think it's very underhyped, underrated for one of their series because it's written differently than the other ones. This is a multiple POV urban fantasy. I would definitely still classify it as urban fantasy because of all the action and all the other and the world building and stuff. I mean, there is a romance thread in there, but I still think it's definitely more urban fantasy side. It just happens to be third person or, and multiple POVs. I really enjoyed it. Anyway, I'm glad we got to that. And then the last book that I finished is I listened to Under One Roof, which is the first one in the Stemis, how do you say that? Stemicist, I don't know, novellas by Ali Hazelwood. So I found out my library had the 3 audiobooks, so I checked them all out. So I did listen to the first one, Under One Roof, which is following an EPA engineer, environmental engineer, and she inherits a house with another guy. Her mentor passes away, and then another guy, I think it's the one who passes away, her nephew or something. They own a house together in, I think it's Washington, D.C. So she moves in because she owns part of the house, and she has nowhere else to go for this new job. She doesn't have enough money to get a place in Washington, D.C. So it's them living under one roof. And it's I think it's a really good, it's enemies to lovers kind of thing, but it's like, it's a cute novella. I think overall I liked things they banter about. I think, again, that's the part I liked about Ali Hazelwood's writing. Right now I'm just going to go right now into books that I am reading. I'm now listening to Stuck With You. So this one's a little different. I'm not sure how I'm going to like this one, I'm not sure the premise is they're stuck in an elevator, but it's 3 weeks after they kind of met and went on a date, and things happened between them, but something happened between them that makes her not like him anymore or not want to be near him. And then she's stuck in this elevator at 11 o'clock at night in the building, and like no one's going to come rescue them. And so they have to talk it out, I think. But we haven't got that far. We're at the very beginning of that. So I got that one. And then I have one more. So I will read this one, finish this up probably tomorrow or Tuesday. It just matters on how much audiobooks I do. And then I will go into the last one. So this one, I'm not counting, I'm counting on my Goodreads and Storygraph. I'm counting that I finish each one. I won't count this book. I will count the individual stories because they were released that way. But when it comes to my Read What You Own, I'm only counting it as one book because I only own the one book. Does that make sense? Anyway, I'm working on my way through this. So I am enjoying Ali Hazelwood. The first audiobook was done by Emma Wilder. The second one, Stuck With You, is done by Meg Sullivan. So anyway, so I've been enjoying that as my audiobook. And then I have started my reread of Glow. So Glow is book 4 in the Playa Prisoner series. So again, this is the biggest of all the books as of right now. So it's like 715 pages. So I'm only 102 pages in. So I'm not very far. And yesterday I could not read to save my life. As I said, I listened to like 30 pages of the audiobook, and I didn't read anything because I was doing a lot of stuff in my office here. You can't tell because it's a disaster. I pulled out all my paper stuff. I was going through everything because, again, I've been in this journaling mood. So I pulled out all this stuff and found all these notebooks that I had and all this stuff I'd stashed on this little bookshelf that I have that have all my paper stuff. So I'm going through and I'm going to reorganize it and mark where I put things because I know I didn't know I had that there. Anyway, so I didn't pick this up at all, but I did. This is a reread for me. This is, again, the aftermath of Gleam. So there's a lot of stuff in here I need to reread before I continue on. And again, of course, I would pick up a huge series to reread when I'm doing Read What You Own, but whatever. But I'm gonna try to read that this week. I don't know if I can read this like straight. It matters how today goes, because yesterday I didn't pick up a book to read physically all day, and I only read like 25-30 pages on listening in my car when I was out and about because of everything that's happening. So I'm hoping to get a good chunk of this done today, and then maybe by the middle of the week I'll be done with this one, and then I can continue to something else, but we will see. So as I said, my audiobook for sure, I'm going to move on to finish the Ali Hazelwood. So I'll finish Stuck With You, and then I will read Below Zero, I think. I just lost, Below Zero. I will do all those because they're libraries. And then I'm going to try to get back to Marry a Scottish Laird by Lindsay Sands. So I got about 74 pages in. And then I was having a little trouble with what was going on in the book. So I'm going to give it another try. I don't want to DNF the series. I might just DNF this book and then continue the, I think it's the Highland Brides series. Because I really liked the first book, An English Bride in Scotland. But this one, there's something about this that I'm not really connecting to. So I'm going to give it one more try on audio and see what happens. I got it from the library, so I do need to listen to that. So that would be another one off my currently reading, and either decide if I'm going to DNF it or continue. And again, if I DNF this, I will still read book 3 because I bought the whole series, and I'm hoping it's just this one doesn't connect with me, but we'll see. So that's, again, this is a Highland romance, historical romance, and it's funny because the woman is she is traveling to somewhere. She's traveling from England into Scotland, I think, and she because her mother wants her to deliver some message or somehow, and I think she must be connected to somebody up there, but she runs into this Highlander who helps her when she has some issues, and they have an instant connection, but I'm not sure I liked how instant it was. So we'll see. Again, it's a, Highland romance. And then I might take a break between Glow before picking up the newest book in that series, to either try to finish, What the Hex or Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. I do have these sitting next to me in case I want to pick this up. I almost picked them up yesterday, but my brain didn't want to pick anything up. So, but I did get Gold by Raven Kennedy. This was my last pre-order within this month, so I shouldn't have any more books coming in this month. I only had 2. I had one other pre-order that showed up that I've read before, so this is the only unread one that came in. So this is book 5 in the Playa Prisoner series. I am so excited to get to this one because of things. I won't get the ending because I'm sure it's a cliffhanger, but this one isn't. This is as long as Gleam, so it's not quite as long. It's like 600 and about 645. So it's another big book, but if I read this one, it'll actually be off my TBR, so we'll work on that. As I said, I'm trying to get through stuff off my shelves, off my currently reading. Again, I'm doing the Read What You Own. I'm trying to get all this stuff done, but I also need, but I have to stop spending money, especially on all the stuff I just bought that is coming, or I bought and stuff. And, I have to just calm down and I need to read. Anyway, so we'll see what happens. Again, as I said, I'm going to play around with my book journal, so I might show you that, closer to the end of the year for next year. As I said, nothing fancy. It won't be anything like that. And then I might do a video talking about what journals and things I'm going to use in the next year. Hopefully you guys will find that interesting. I don't know. I like watching what people are journaling, or bullet journals, or reading journals, like what they're using and how they're planning to do it. So I do need to fix a few things, figure out a few things, but I'm choose which notebook I'm actually going to use for what I want to do some book reviews in and stuff. We'll see. So anyway, that's it. That's what I've read since the end of November. So anyway, what are you guys reading? How are you guys doing? If you're doing the Read What You Own, how are you doing on that? I think I have knocked off 7. Not all of them physical, some have been audio. But at least they're books I've owned and paid for, so they still count. So again, mostly I'm going to try to do mostly physical for this, but a couple of the books that I read this last last week and a half has been audio. That was, that's what I had it as. So we're trying to get through that. So I think that's it. I better stop rambling. I talk too much anyway, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye. Isn't he cute?